Welcome to Live in the Markets with Trader Nick. In this show, Nick will cover the latest market trends, whether they're rising or falling. Stick around to hear about trade ideas, latest news, and much more. Remember that trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Today's stream is made possible by our partners and sponsors. If you're looking for a new broker, trying to get funded, or looking for a trading community to join, consider checking out the links in the description below. By using these links, you'll get access to great products and be supporting the channel.
Welcome to my live streams where I take trades on real accounts, no nonsense, no fake MT4 profits. On my streams, you'll usually see me taking a look at software tools that we use to analyze the markets to try and get the latest market trends that are going on. We study things like the Commitment of Traders report, which shows us what institutional traders are buying and what they're selling. We look at seasonality to try and predict and find opportunities in the market based on historical data. Stay tuned for the second half of the stream where we'll bring in guests from all over the place to add commentary on what's going on in the markets. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream. Today is an action-packed day in the markets. We have some very important news. I would argue possibly the most important news of the week. Of course, we're talking about CPI numbers. Now, if you are not familiar, if you are a newer trader or you're unsure about why this hype is here, the reason for it is because, of course, that CPI numbers indicate essentially the level of inflation here in the United States. Why does that matter? Well, inflation matters a lot to a very notable group, which is the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve looks at CPI numbers and says, hey, how is that inflation number doing? They want that inflation number to be down from where it currently sits and ideally around the 2% mark. We're currently sitting up in the 7s and recently in the 8s percentage mark in terms of inflation. And so we're trying to see if that number today is going to come out less than expected or more than expected. How is inflation holding up? Is inflation still really high compared to what we want it to get to, or is it better than expected? And each one of those scenarios offers a whole lot of opportunity for traders because traders, of course, with CPI numbers, will see spikes. They'll see volatility. And if you're a day trader or even a swing trader like myself, that volatility can be excellent for producing some great scenarios to trade. So we're going to talk about some things. We're going to take a look at the dollar. We're going to look at gold. We're going to look at the S&P 500. We're going to look at some of the other crosses. Let me know, guys, real quick as we just get started here, where are you tuning into the stream from? I'd be curious to hear from you. Let me know which part of the world you are tuning in from. And if you guys have a chart request that you'd like me to look at, we've got about 20 minutes here before the actual spike occurs, which gives us some time to talk about some scenarios to potentially trade. Okay, cool. Netherlands, Sweden, Dubai. Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. Philippines, Brazil. Cool. London. All right, so cool. Nice to see everybody. South Africa. Nice to see where everybody's from. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to walk through a couple scenarios for setups. And then I'm going to talk about a trade that I'm actually in myself. I'm going to show you guys my real profit and loss. And I am going to be holding a trade into the news event, which sounds crazy, right? Well, I'm a swing trader. So swing trading means oftentimes I hold positions through major news events. It's just part of the job when it comes to being a swing trader. Because if you think about it, if as a swing trader, you just have to close trades every other day for news events, you're never actually going to catch multiple day swings, right? So I do hold through news very often. And we'll watch that together. So anyways, the first thing I want to take a look at, and we will look at plenty of charts, so stick around with me, get your coffee, whatever, is NZD/USD. So the New Zealand dollar is something that I am bullish on. And there's two scenarios that I want to talk about real quick going into the actual spike. We've got about 20 minutes. I'm talking about a potential bullish breakout to the upside if we see the dollar come down, and a possible pullback opportunity if we see the dollar actually get strong. Okay. So in both scenarios, I'm looking for longs on this cross primarily. So I'll explain this a little bit more. We'll now take a look at the 1 hour chart. And what I'm looking for is a break above that 4-hour high. If we were to see a break above that 4-hour high, what we see here is that could be an indication of strength. If we were to see something like this, breaks, retest opportunities, continuations, right? Now, this scenario off of a spike would involve something with the dollar. This would be, and this is where we need to clarify, this can be a bit confusing for the newbies. I understand it's confusing for me sometimes, so don't even feel bad about it. If CPI, so if we're talking about these two scenarios, let me just draw scenario number 2. Like, let's say this results in a sell-off. What's going to cause these two scenarios? Well, CPI coming down is actually going to be poor for the dollar. CPI coming out higher than expected, or in this case called a miss, is going to be better for the US dollar. Now, this topic gets everybody all confused, but bear with me, I'll explain it as simply as I can. CPI is a measurement of inflation. If there's high inflation, it means the interest rates will probably go up faster. That is incredibly bullish for the currency. It's bad for stocks. It's bad for risk sentiment globally. Okay, that's what you need to know. So if we know CPI numbers, we don't know what the numbers are going to be. We are waiting to see those numbers together, and we're going to react and trade them as we get started here. If CPI numbers come out less than expected today, we would likely see the dollar come down. That would be this scenario, right? Because a weaker dollar could let the New Zealand dollar break out, and that could produce an excellent trading opportunity to the long side on a breakout and retest of potential highs. Does that make sense to everybody? Type yes in the chat. I know this one is a little bit confusing, but I want to bear with me here as I try and explain it the best I can. This is always a confusing topic for people, but I explain it once a month whenever we do CPI numbers, and I try and get it across as easily as I can. So type yes in the chat if that made sense to you. The idea basically being a weak CPI number, which is considered a beat. It's better, right? Lower inflation is good. That is bad for the dollar, and it would be good for this cross. It would give New Zealand dollar, that higher risk currency, more room to rise. So that's the possible idea behind the fundamentals, right? I want to make sure everybody understands that, because, I don't want you to just see the spike and be like, well, it went this way and CPI was this, right? Everybody gets all confused about why the news can sometimes do the opposite. The reason is because when you actually break down the fundamentals, a lot of times it really makes sense. Everybody just sort of jumps to conclusions like, oh, the news can be good and then it goes down. Well, no, the news being good is a lower number, right? That would be considered what the market would call good news. It would be good for stocks. It would be good for the New Zealand dollar. It would not be good news for the US dollar. Does that make sense? It's kind of confusing in that way. But we're going to continue. Don't even worry about it. We're going to keep going through this stuff. Of course, the opposite scenario would be looking for a breakout the other way. And for my day traders out there, if you're looking for a possible sell on something like New Zealand US dollar, we would expect, or you would probably want to see some sort of caving over of this and forming a top. Now, of course, we don't know that top is going to be formed. The news could shoot us right through the highs, and we're going to have to watch to see how that ends up playing out based on that CPI number that is released. So I mainly get confused when the news comes out mixed. Yeah, Jason, I hear you. That makes sense, right? The whole market's confused, and that's why you get all these price movements. Are all the different professional and retail traders are trying to price the new data, and so that is where you get those crazy back and forth spikes. Is it possible to backtest fundamentals? Sure, it is. Okay, so news also reports for the stock market, which is not the same for currencies. Exactly, James, right? So CPI numbers they're impactful to all markets to a degree. The stock market, of course, is in that mix as well. So we'll keep going. I want to show you guys. So hopefully you got the idea basically on NZD USD. We're talking about possible breakouts, retest opportunities come potentially in the afternoon on that scenario. We'll just have to wait and see. On the flip side, if things break to the downside, if you're a bear on NZD USD, you could look for break of structure and looking for retest as well. So really, really simple, straightforward concept there on NZD USD. Let's turn to another one. We'll look at Euro USD here this morning, which is also sort of in consolidation prior to this major news event. It makes sense, right? You've got a big news event. The market is sort of trying to just wait and see what ends up happening here before trying to trend too far one way or the other. So the market here on Euro USD, what you'll notice is that we of course have a resistance point here holding up very, very strong. We've also got support lower, but notice guys that the trend here is pretty nicely to the upside. The euro dollar has been acting pretty strong overall. And so we would expect, right, this market to continue to drift higher. That's what we've seen recently. Despite the upcoming news event, we've actually seen the euro dollar still staying strong. Now, if you're watching it today, here's two scenarios for you. If you are, whether you're a day trader or a swing trader, let's say you're looking at this thing and you're saying, okay, it's tagging support, right? Similar to NZD USD, we have a very, very closely related chart, right? So we have our support and resistance marked. We have resistance above the highs, support below the lows, okay? If you're looking at this today, we're in the middle of consolidation, right? So as same principles apply, if we see a break and close outside of 1.051, that to me would be bearish for Euro USD, and very likely you'd see some sort of scenario where we try and even test lower. That would be my opinion on going into something like Euro USD, right? So a break of support, right? A strong close below support and then looking for the retest could present some opportunities. And we could even draw fibs to come up with this idea. Let's just try and forecast into the future for a second. Let's just say that we get a strong enough close outside of support here like this, right? And this may come in the next couple hours, right? If the thing gets super bearish. Okay, so that's scenario number one, would be the bearish case where we see just a drop across the board on CPI numbers on the euro dollar, meaning probably a very strong US dollar. We'd probably see stocks come down. We'd probably see the euro USD come down, etc. Flip it around, we could talk about the bullish case scenario. So we're, again, recap, scenario number one is a big bearish move, right? Bearish break, looking for that retest, ideally trying to tag it up with support turned resistance, as well as the 38.2, keeping things simple. Flip it around and let's talk about the other way. Let's say we get a huge move to the upside, right? And again, spike is very likely to cause some follow through one way or the other, just because, again, it is so heavily anticipated and the numbers are going to be very, very much watched by a lot of market participants. You're probably going to see a lot of flow in the market, whether it's up or down upon the release of this data. Okay, so again, big resistance point here. We'd want to see a breaking close. This would be a signal that this market has truly broken out, in my view, would be a close outside of resistance. So close outside of resistance and then price, what do we do? Always, at least what I do always, pullbacks, right? Waiting for that pullback scenario and then looking to get long on a pullback, okay? So let's draw this scenario using fibs. So let's just assume we get a huge green candle looking for something like this, 1.061. It's a huge move. Is it likely to happen? Maybe, maybe not. That's 66 pips to the upside. Actually, it's possible. It's very possible that you could see 60 pips on a single candle here. Of course, we're gonna have to wait to see what those numbers actually end up being. Sometimes CPI does in fact just do this, and so that's why I do not recommend buy stops and sell stops. I think that's a suicide run. That's a crazy, crazy strategy because, again, brokers widen their spreads. It gets really messy. And every single news event, I get DMs and messages from people who are like, it was working so well for so long, and then I blew everything. Every time we get a spike back and forth, people blow their accounts on that stuff. So be very careful with that. So yeah, let's keep going. Some people are requesting pound USD in the chat. I hear you guys. We'll take a look at pound USD. Do you have a position on? Yes, Ben. I am long S&Ps and I'm holding those into the news. I'll be showing my position live on camera. You guys can watch me either make money or lose money. You know how the stream be. We don't, no cap, right? Real counts, real trading. I got a position just to prove it to you. I've got it already prepped. Here it is. This is my position on right now, VOO, which represents the S&P 500. I am up on this trade. Let's see if that can stay the case, right? So yes, this is my Webull account. I am currently long S&P going into this release, and we're going to watch together once this news happens. I'll keep this up on screen. You can watch my profit and loss. it might just go right out the window, but we'll have fun with it. And okay, let me back up and just say something. I didn't mean that as in like, we're just going to gamble on the release. No. I'm a swing trader. I hold trades through news events sometimes. And sometimes news messes me up. Sometimes news goes greatly in my favor. But if it messes me up, I still have a stop loss in place. I still am risking small relative to the account. I'm not gambling on the news event. I think that is one of the dumbest things that you could do when it comes to news events. Anyways, I just want to clarify that I've been holding on to that S&P trade for over a week. So it's not a YOLO into the trade. Not at all. Okay. Please don't spam the chat. Do me a favor. I don't have my staff with me here today on the producer side. Please do not spam. I'm going to have to put you in timeout, my friend, because you're making it hard to read anybody else's messages. And come on, man. Everybody has their questions. I'm trying to do my best and you're just taking up the whole chat. What is that? Pound USD. Yeah. Look at this, man. This one, I had to time that out. Pound USD, higher lows, higher highs. Question is today, are we going to actually see the break? And if this breaks, guys, this is probably one of the cleanest charts out there for long side setups, in my opinion. And what I mean is not, oh, I think it's going to go up on the spike. What I mean is it has all the potential for, if price does in fact make a break above the highs, clean pullback opportunities, continuation opportunities. It is cookie cutter, by the book, textbook, great trade scenario, in my opinion. That's something I'd look at. The dollar is moving. Yeah, the dollar seems to be floating to the downside here prior to the news. Of course, we've got 10 minutes, you guys. We're going to watch the spike together. Again, I'll show you guys my profit and loss, so don't go anywhere. You're going to want to watch that. I know everybody loves to see that. The viewership spikes right as I put up my my profit and loss, and everybody can watch me publicly make or lose money. It's always a fun time. Pound USD, like I said, key break would be to see if we can get a break above the previous high. That's our notable spot. That's the notable spot on the chart. A break and close outside. Any retest opportunities look like continuations. Now, of course, you got the sell side. If this thing is going to fall apart, that's another scenario. But for me, this would take a lot. I would need to really see a break below like 1.22, 2220 before we really even start to see, any sort of sell side scenario. So again, hesitant on that one. We'll take a quick look at gold. Of course, gold is probably the most. Real quick, do you guys trade gold? Yes or no? Let's get a little feedback going on in the chat. Let me know in the chat. I'd be curious to see. And then also, guys, I've got something for you I want to show you in just a moment. We'll do gold, and then I'm going to show you guys. We're going to be giving something away today on stream. So don't go anywhere. Today is a great stream. We're giving stuff away. We're going to watch the spike together. You guys can watch if I lose a bunch of money or make a bunch of money. That's just part of the live streams, right? Again, like I said, I'm going to be showing my position. Here is my position on screen. I'm up $889. We're going to either kiss that goodbye or going to watch it float higher. But again, I have a stop loss in place in case it goes wrong. So what was I going to say? Oh, yes. We are going to be doing a giveaway for the stock box today on stream. Well, we're doing it this month. We're giving away a stock box, which is really exciting. I'm going to show you guys that. If you don't know what that is, real quick, let me just give you a little teaser. This is the stock box. Okay. We just got this product built. We're giving one away for free. It's an awesome little product. It sits on your desk and it looks at all your favorite charts. Let me show you full screen just for a second. So here's what it looks like. It's absolutely the coolest little thing ever. I have it on my desk every day, and we're going to be giving one away today for free. In fact, let me just drop that link while I go over gold. If you guys want to enter into a giveaway for that, again, it is free to join the giveaway. Just fill out your phone number and email, and we will contact the winner. 1 second. Let me get the giveaway entry. Here it is. Okay. One second. Here it is. All right, pinning. There we go. Okay, guys, it's pinned on my channel. Let me put it on the A1 Trading YouTube channel as well. Again, we are going to be giving away one of these. It is an awesome little tool. And hold on, let me just A1 trading. I'm working by myself today. No producers in the office today, unfortunately. Well, they are. They're just not here yet. Office work doesn't start until 9 o'clock on the team side, so I'm here a little early by myself. Okay, guys, here we go. Pin that message. There it is. On both channels now, for you guys who are watching on A1 Trading or on my channel, you can now enter the giveaway, the free giveaway for the stock box. Again, we're going to give one away. I'm sorry for the delay there. Let's go back to the chart here, and we'll take a look at gold here, which is making a nice move pre news event. Guys, we have 5 minutes until the spike occurs. We're going to watch that together. Ships to London, yes, it ships all over the world. But if you enter more than once, it won't count. It does remove duplicates, so don't just try and spam submit over and over. But it is we're going to give one away completely for free. Just enter your phone number and your email, and we're going to contact. If you want to buy it, it is on the website as well. Just head over to a1trading.com/A1-stockbox. If you want to just look at it, a1trading.com/A1-stockbox. I just put it in the chat for you. If you want to look at it, if you just want to buy it, you can. Supports the stream, so click that link if you want to buy it. So yeah, a couple minutes here before the news event happens. Let's take a look now at gold. And the thought process here with gold is it's similar to other markets, kind of consolidating before the event, right? So we have this float higher, and then you can kind of see we just sort of fizzled out. We've slowed down, and similar to the other things that we've talked about today, we're looking for breaks. And if we go to the 1 hour chart, what we can kind of see, we've got some resistance above, some major resistance above at that 1805, which has been a big one, right? For swing traders and day trader, that's a major level of resistance. And then on the support side, we're gonna have to watch to see if 1780 can actually break. So how do you trade gold on this? Well, if you're a bear, right, breaks, retests. And again, we talk about this stuff. It's going to start sounding repetitive if you watch my streams long enough. That's kind of the point of being a trader, is you're not here to, it's not meant to be gambling and exciting. It's meant to be rigid and consistent and sometimes boring. So when I look at gold here, again, a key spot on the chart is, of course, the 1780 mark. If the bears are going to take it, we want to see a lower high, right, form on the news, which could happen, right? Or on the flip side, if we get CPI numbers that are a beat, right, gold will likely rally, and we would want to watch to see if we can get a break above previous resistance. If there's truly strength here to the upside for gold, it's going to be a break of this 1795. And if that breaks, right, there could be something like this: breaks, retests, continuations, and maybe targeting on up to the highs. So gold is definitely a curious one going into the news event. Again, I don't know what the spike is going to do. We are talking about scenarios in which case we react to the spike. If you watch my stream, I am not a fan of trying to predict the future when it comes to markets. My goal is to try and react to what the market is doing, risk small, and just hold on for the ride. I am a trend follower, right? So I'm looking for breakouts. Oftentimes people will say, well, Nick, you're just saying both scenarios. Yes, that's exactly correct, right? We are waiting for an opportunity to present itself, and then we're looking to trade in the direction. So we're waiting for the spike to actually start, right? We're not trading before the spike. We are waiting to see what happens. I'll show you guys my trade. So I am currently long S&P 500. Look at this volatility. My goodness. What just happened there? We just had a major turnaround. We launched up to 4,040 and then pulled back very, very quickly. This is my current trade that I'm on. This is on my Webull account. I don't trade S&P on the, I can't trade it on the Forex market. I can only trade it on the stock market or on the futures market, but I just choose the stock market in the US. That is our limitation. We can't trade CFDs as other countries can. But this is what we're going to watch when the stream actually occurs. This is my stream. This is a trade that I have open inside of our VIP group. And we have just about 2 minutes here, or a minute to go, guys. After the actual spike, I will tell you guys how you can join the Discord for free. We do have a free version and a paid version. But let me actually set up my charts right now. Comment real quick. What do you want me to pull up on the screen? We're going to pull up a couple charts to watch on the release. Let me go ahead and focus here for a second. One thing we have to watch is, of course, the S&P 500 trade that I have on. I'm going to be a little selfish and take up one screen for that. Gold, I'm going to just assume that everybody wants gold as they usually do. So we'll watch gold here. We've got the S&P 500 in the top left. On the top right, what do you guys want to put? I'm seeing a lot of Euro USD. I'm seeing Pound USD. Comment, spam your ones you want to look at. I see Pound USD quite a bit. So we'll put the Pound GBP USD here. Again, we've got just 10 seconds. So we'll keep Euro USD up on the bottom right. So here we go, guys. We're about to watch the spike. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see what happens. All right, and the S&P 500 is up. For starters, Pound USD. Look at that. S&P 500 taking out the highs here. Gold flying. Oh my goodness. Let's go look at the profit and loss. Look at that. There we go. $2,700 of profit on the table right now. Euro USD flying through the highs. S&P 500 looking really good. And again, checking back on the profit and loss here. So VOO, $2,400 of profit right now. That's great. Really nice move here. Nice turnout on the S&P 500. And for those of you guys who were trading it, if you were looking at Pound USD here, congratulations. That is a massive spike to the upside. A huge number here today. Comment in the chat. Look at that, you guys. We've got 7.1% year over year. What a number here to hit today. That is fantastic. And that's going to be a big deal for us. That's a huge hit today. 7.1%. Let's go. Very, very strong movement here for counter currencies to the dollar. And I would imagine that the dollar here is down quite a bit today with the VXY shooting through the lows, the euro dollar massively jumping, the pound dollar jumping, S&P 500 flying here today. For those of you who are inside of the VIP group, we're going to be trailing stops here. The S&P 500 making that spike to the upside beautifully, up $2,100 currently. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this inside of the VIP group. For those of you who are not already inside, we are floating a massive figure now. We will take that for our Tuesday morning. If you're not inside of the Discord, I'm going to drop the Discord link. Give me 1 second. Free Discord channel is available in the chat right now. If you missed it, get in there. This is the Discord channel to be in. A lot of stuff happening and a lot of fun stuff coming in the new year. Here you go. Free link. Click this link. You can join for free. Just click that link. Fill out the form. We'll send you the link and you can get access to it. What a massive number today, you guys. Really a big beat. So that's huge to watch right there. And the S&P 500 continuing to jump. Pound USD winner on the day, it seems like. And you've got the dollar falling through the floor. What a move. Guys, we've got to I'm gonna go ahead and trail stops. For those of you who are inside of the VIP group, we are gonna make a move here. I've got to update my position. Let's do this together. I'm going to talk a little bit about my S&P. So I took the trade down here, currently running nicely in profit. We broke clean through levels of resistance. I'm going to go ahead and treat this now as support. This is where we're going to trail stops to, and I'm going to go ahead and get that out to you guys. Just give me 1 second here as we get going. So SPX 500, I've got to do this on camera, don't I? Huh? So let's do this. So the S&P 500, huge move to the upside. Let me take a screenshot here for members. So S&P 500 flying through the highs. That is a fantastic hit today. Wow, you do not usually see that much volatility on. I mean, CPI, of course, it is a volatile event. Don't get me wrong, but that was an incredibly big move. Quite the move there. My goodness. So yeah, really, really a big move. I'm going to go ahead and update positions here for members inside of the Discord. If you are inside of the Discord, just pay attention to Nick's trades really quick. I'm just going to update this. 1 second. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's do this. I just trailed it in my other account to 39 97, 39.97, 39.97. Trailed in profit. All right, so we are still on the same entry. We are locked in profit, cannot lose on this trade anymore. That is a fantastic spot to be in. Even if this thing completely erases, we'll still make some money on that one. Really, really good spot to be in. Then I've got to update it on my other account. So we've got a lot of stuff to do here. Yeah, what a move, man. All right, we're going to go ahead and update that. So inside of the Discord, if you are inside of the group, I just shared the update to my trade on the S&P 500 that we entered last week, and worth the wait, right? A little bit of patience pays, man. That is it took some time here, really, really consolidated, forced us to wait on that trade. But on that spike, we will take that. That's a great spot to be in. USDJPY, someone says in the chat, big drop. Look at that, held resistance beautifully. It's cool when the charts work out, man. It's really, really cool. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Jake, you are coming on today, which is awesome. We got Jake showing up a little earlier than usual. I appreciate you being flexible with us on that. So giving back some of that profit on the S&P, we were floating at 1.2700, but hey, still profit is profit. We're going to give this thing a little room to run. With the S&P 500, especially after today's results from CPI, I have no pressure to just quickly take a profit when it comes to the S&P. I'm going to trail this stop as loose as I can. So for those of you who would like to know a little bit more details, just visually speaking, the entry to the trade back here inside of the group, we called that shot. Long here, and on the big break, right, we've got it trailed behind support. So if this market comes back down, right, it is tagging resistance, don't get me wrong, but just because we're tagging resistance doesn't mean I'm going to take profit, because this scenario is also possible, right? So I'm looking to try and hold on to a trade going well. When a trade goes in my favor, my goal is not to grab profit off the table. My job is to hold tight and try and let it run. And sometimes you will get criticisms. I will get criticism very often for people who say, like, Nick, you're being greedy for holding on to a trade. In my opinion, it is the exact opposite. The greedy part of me wants to snap a profit off the table as soon as it shows green. That's the greedy part. The fear of, I don't want to see it go back away, right? For me, the patient part, the disciplined part is when a trade goes in my favor, to have the stomach to hold on to a winning trade. I did a poll one time on my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll do it again just to see if the stats are the same. But it was like 80% of traders said that they have more trouble holding on to a winning trade than holding on to a losing trade. If that doesn't indicate something important to you, then I don't know what does. Because think about it, right? The holding on to a winning trade is pain, because you're like, I just want to see my profit realized, right? That's the hard part. The hard part is holding on to something that's working, right? The easy part is just snapping profit off the table. But what that does is it builds a habit where you never let trades become a big win. You only ever grab snaps of profit off the table very quickly. So we do have our stops trailed. I need to trail it into my second account. So give me just 1 second here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and trade it or trail it here on VOO. Where did my stop loss go? Did I mess something up? Hold on. What? My stop loss just disappeared. Okay, well, that's okay. Oh, it's because the market's closed. This is the confusing part about trying to swap between stocks and Forex. Forex market's 24 hours, right? Stock market opens in about an hour. So I'll have to trail stops once the market opens. But on my my other account where I trail the trades or mimic the trades on the Forex market, I just use a small live account to do that with. We're already able to trail stop, so we're okay. We'll do that once the market opens. In terms of S&P 500, like I said, we're tagging resistance. This is going to be the next question mark. So clearly, support did end up holding really nicely. Next question mark is, can we actually break through resistance and get above that previous high? So that's where we're at with that one. Well, what do you guys want to look at? Let me know in the chat. Let's keep going. Gold. Let's go check up on gold, see what's going on. Look at this, you guys. Gold, very similar scenario. And this is exactly what we discussed with gold. Major resistance here. If that breaks, you probably have some very strong opportunity to see this thing break, retest, and go higher. Right? Gold seems to have a little bit of a runway in front of it right now, as many things do with the dollar dropping like it is. I think that there's a runway for a lot of assets. I might be wrong about that, but the S&P, I think you have room. Gold, I think you have room. I might be completely off with that, but that's how I'm trading it. That's how I'm following through. Guys, I mentioned the free Discord. Here's the link. If you want access to the Discord channel, click that link, fill it out. We'll see some of you guys in there. There's a ton of free stuff inside of there. DXY taking a nosedive. Yes, it certainly is. And remember, guys, we're doing the giveaway here. I mentioned the stock box. We'll do it one more time here in case you missed it. It's the pinned comment in the chat on both channels right now. You can get access to the stock box for free. A lot of you guys have been very, very interested in trying it out, getting access to it. We're going to give some away for free. We're going to give one away for free here. Our first giveaway, we're going to run this for about a week or 2 weeks, and then we'll give away a free stock box to somebody in the audience. If you want access to this, it sits on your screen, or not on your screen, on your desk, and it just rotates through your favorite assets. You can program the assets to whatever you want. Shows up on your desk. It's the coolest little desktop toy for traders, whatever you want to call it, gadget. You know, it completes your setup. I love having it on the desk. And again, if you want it, fill out the stock box giveaway link that's being dropped in the chat right now. Click that link, fill it out. You can only enter once. If you enter more than once, it does you no good because it removes duplicates. But fill out that link, and I hope you get it. If you don't get it, you can also buy it on the site. If that's something you really want, you're like, oh man, I want that gift. Buy it off of our website, a1trading.com. Max, thank you, my friend. Here's to a profitable day. And to you as well, my friend. It's a nice Tuesday. We had some profit. Yeah, look at that. The money tree is raining. So what do you think about FOMC? Good question. Going into FOMC tomorrow, right? We just hit back-to-back big moves in markets because, of course, the CPI number is part one. Part two is going to be to see how things end up with, how the Fed decides to do stuff with this. This is so fun. Love, my friend. Appreciate you for tuning in and saying that. If you're new to the streams, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. Max, again, thank you for the donation, my friend. That's really cool of you. So yeah, let's see. So I want to look at the watch list here for a moment, just with some time to go. Now we can transition to follow-up scenarios. So of course we've got the spike. We've talked about the pre-spike. We talked about a trade that I was in, the S&P 500. Still in it. I mean, let's see, how are we doing? We're floating back up higher, which is nice. S&P. We'll just take a quick look at that again. So S&P 500, what's kind of confusing about the S&P 500 is it briefly showed up with the Edge Finder as a buy. It's gone away since then. And it's been kind of confusing for me because, of course, when something shows up in the Edge Finder as a buy, and I take a buy, and then it goes away, what do? Well, here's what I do. When the Edge Finder shows something as a buy, and I like the setup and I pick up a trade, I buy it as usual and I trail stops as usual. So for me, it's about when the entry signal was there, not necessarily if it's still there a week into the trade. One comparable thing is that we have the Dow US 30 showing up as a buy. We've been long biased on indices for the last few weeks. It's paying big dividends right now, which is awesome. S&P 500 breaking out. Love to hear that. We're happy to continue to hold on to a profit. And we'll take a look at some more charts in a moment. Let's take a look at some of these crosses. NZD USD, a big one that we discussed here. Beautiful chart, you guys. That's what we love to see. This is textbook. This is what I like to call a textbook trade setup. Okay. This is one. If it pulls back, I pick it up on the long side with a small risk. Okay. And that's what I mean by textbook. I don't mean, oh, this is one where you go all in. Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, okay, we broke clean through where the chart was saying clearly, hey, resistance, resistance, resistance. We broke it. And so now on a retest of that area, that offers some support, right? It's not a guarantee. It's a probability. I should make a rap about that. Kidding. That would be so cringy. But no, like the point is, right? You get a big clean breakthrough resistance like that. You have confirmation from the edge finder. That's what I would call a textbook trade for me. That's the entry. That's the style. So yes, the big break happened. If this is going to be a trade I take, it's got to pull back, whether that be in the next few days or today. That's what I'd be looking for, right? Step one, strong, impulsive break on a catalyst like a big, great CPI beat like we saw. So yeah. And then looking for pullback. So we use the edge finder as our institutional data feed, right? We can look at what COT data is showing us, what retail sentiment is showing us, all sorts of different metrics. You have all these different indicators that we track to get a better view on each market. And then we use the technicals to actually enter and exit the trade. Thank you very much. Very well done to A1 Trading. The Edge Finder is an awesome tool. It's making fundamental analysis easier and fun to learn. It then allows us to prepare to enter a trade when technicals line up. HMH, sounds like you have the exact right idea about what the Edge Finder is all about. Little context, you guys. We build software tools for traders, and this is called the Edge Finder. If you're new to the streams, we do have also a way to get access to the Edge Finder for free if you want to try this out. It is a paid product, but we have a free trial available. I would encourage you guys to try it out if you haven't already. It has a million cool features to level up traders. We have a market heat map. You can look at all the different currencies, commodities, whatever you want. We track the major currency pairs, the minor currency pairs, the commodities like gold and oil, and indices. There's also a mobile version. We have everything that we have, we brainstormed for a lot of time, built this tool, and continue to improve it. It is a one-time purchase. If it's something that you're interested in, we can work something out with you. But I would encourage you at least try it out. Click this link, fill it out, and you get a free trial request. And one of our team members will work with you. We have several people who are trained professionals when it comes to the Edge Finder, explaining how the tool works on staff here in my office. We are in a studio office right now. And if you guys want to try out the tool, grab it, my friend. Can I make payment installments? Josh, yes, that is something that we offer. If you want to buy it in pieces, you can do something like that. Just, you know what, Josh, let's do this. Can you send a message on our contact support? Right here. I'll put this in the chat for you. Josh, that's something you're interested in doing, just contact us. Click this link. If you want to do payments in installments and work something out with one of our team members, you can just click that link and fill that out. And somebody will chat with you. Is this your main income made by trading or selling trading products? Yes, I make money both. I am a software engineer by trade, and when I came to trading, I brought a lot of that software stuff with me. I build software tools for my own trading, and then as I'm on YouTube, people have asked to get the tools themselves. We have over 1,000 people using the Edge Finder. I have a full staff of people that program, build, design, market, and help people with the tools. So yes, I make money in both ways. Look at that, man. NZD/USD still staying up at the top of that candle. How's that S&P 500 looking today? Are we still staying strong? Well, we're above resistance. That's a big deal. Love to see that. And that trade that I'm in, let's see how we're doing. Still up $2,000. What a crazy move. Suddenly, right? Just a sudden big shoot to the upside with that CPI news this morning. Cannot complain, that's for sure. To the moon, Nick to the moon, right? I love those little icons. I should follow your strategy, but now I'm trading SMC. Hey man, just do what works for you. If that works for you, then do you. I don't really encourage people to just trade the way I trade because I think like, a little bit of adaptation to your own personal style, what time of day you can trade. Do you like day trading? Do you like swing trading? Which charts do you like to trade? All of those things play into the strategy that works for you. I find myself very often trading the indices, trading the dollar crosses, right? Things like euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar yen. Those are some of my sweet spot trades. And those are assets that I personally like, but not everybody likes the same thing, right? Some people just love trading gold or trading GBP, JPY. Those are very popular retail trading vehicles. People love the volatility that they get from GJ or gold, right? I use both support and resistance as well as order blocks. Hey, you know what? Do you? I think, how much profit are you in, Nick? You can see it right here. This is just it's just a widget from my Webull account where I can actually trade indices and stocks and stuff. So I have VOO, which is just a representation of the S&P 500. Well, actually, back up. Wait, sorry, I said that wrong. The S&P 500 is traded on the futures market and the stock market and the Forex market through CFDs. CFDs are really like a mirrored effect of the actual thing that's traded on the futures market, right? The E-minis. So it's confusing like that, but there's different symbols, but they all kind of represent the same thing. Yeah, US 10-year down. Wow. Wow. What a drop. Down 4% on that release. What a crazy move there. I'm just biased here because I do, of course, have the trade open on S&P. Guys, what I'm going to do here is we have somebody who's going to take over the stream. He is quite the guy. And we do have James in the office, so he's going to help me do the transition. Thank you, James, for being here. Appreciate you, man. Now we're going to turn to Jake. He's going to take over the stream for a little bit. If you guys don't already know Jake, what we'll do is we'll also drop a link to his channel. He comes on a regular basis. He also uses the Edge Finder, and I would encourage you guys to listen to what he has on the Edge Finder, right? It's kind of cool to hear it from different people and how different people use it. Not everybody trades exactly like me, and I'm aware enough to know that. And Jake has an awesome style himself. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition the stream to Jake. Stay right there, and he's going to be with you right after this.
And remember to check the description below if you're looking for a trading community to join.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the stream. Of course, I know you guys have already been here, but I am just tuning in with you guys here this morning. A little bit earlier than normal for me, but we have some big news to discuss. So it's going to be a good stream. As you guys just saw, Nick absolutely destroy that S&P 500 trade. So we'll talk a little bit about the S&P 500 and give you guys my thoughts on it. We'll talk about the DXY, and we'll talk about these numbers that just came out, and I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions as always. What do I think about combo of partial take profit plus trail stops? That's kind of what I do, Justin, actually. What's going on, guys? What's going on? It's nice to see a lot of you, similar, same people in here a lot. You're seeing the same people every time I come back. So thank you guys for tuning in every time I come on. But yeah, guys, so obviously we had some pretty big news here. We had CPI miss to the downside, right? We had CPI miss to the downside. And what this means for the market is that inflation is coming down. And you have to remember the entire purpose of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, which has been giving strength to the dollar, has been to tame inflation. And since inflation is coming down, now the odds of an interest rate hike at tomorrow's FOMC have gone down as well. And most likely at this point, the market is at least pricing in the fact that we should get a 50 basis point rate hike instead of a 75 basis point rate hike. And that is why we have seen this absolutely massive drop on the dollar here, and while we've seen the S&P 500 and other risk on assets like Bitcoin flying, right? Bitcoin crossed 18K this morning. So they're very, very good there for crypto bulls who are hoping to catch some upside on Bitcoin. We've seen a massive, massive spike here on all the risk assets because generally speaking, when the dollar gets weak, the risk assets do well. Right. So let's talk about the S&P 500 first, because I think this is probably one of the most interesting charts in the market right now, right? Because we have a lot of people who are worried about recession. We have a lot of people who are worried about interest rates. We have a lot of people who think the bear market is over, and we have a lot of people who think the bear market still has a long ways to go. And I think what a lot of people are looking at is the S&P 500, right? Because this is going to give us kind of an idea of the US stock market and where it's at currently. And what's interesting about S&P 500 is that we initially rejected this trend line, right? We initially rejected this trend line, rejected this channel that we've been following. And you can kind of use this trend line as a visualization of this bear market that we have been in, right? Putting in higher time frame, lower highs, continuing to march our way down for a long time now. Right? And as we now move up here, we put in a higher low. We rallied off of this support, which is where I believe Nick actually got his entry at. And then we rallied and we're now breaking through this trend line. So what's interesting is, like, is this it, right? Is this it? Is this CPI and FOMC going to be the catalyst, this kind of pivot point in the market where the Federal Reserve finally starts to ease off of this interest rate aggressiveness that we've had? We move to a 50 basis point rate hike, right? And then it inevitably comes down from there. We get to the terminal rate, and then that's where the Federal Reserve completely reverses course, right? That would kind of be the marker for the bottom of a significant trend. That would be the bottom of a significant trend, right? So we have to keep our eye on the S&P 500 here and see if we can maintain this breakout. Is this breakout a fake out, or is this breakout the real deal? And, you know, nobody really knows the answers to that question other than just having to wait and see if we get those candle closures, if we can have some follow through from the bulls to push this thing to the upside. And if we do, right, it could be very, very interesting next month or so for the S&P 500 as we look to push up maybe towards these highs here, right? And we just look to the left of the chart to try to find the next significant points in the market to come back up and retest, right? So those are kind of my thoughts on the S&P 500, right? I think we could initially get moves up to continue pushing through to some of these levels if we can maintain this breakout. And one thing that we have to remember also, guys, is that we have FOMC tomorrow. So this was kind of just part one of a two-part combo, right? We have CPI and then we have FOMC. And the reason the market is so volatile today is because these CPI numbers are sort of a leading indicator of what might happen on FOMC. So what you have right now is you have traders who are speculating on what these CPI numbers mean for the odds of tomorrow's FOMC meeting. So now we have basically speculators calculating that we are going to get a 50 basis point rate hike instead of a 75 basis point rate hike, right? And so we have to keep our eyes on this tomorrow. What we don't want to have happen as traders right now, guys, is you enter some longs right now. Let's say you were to pick up some longs on S&P 500, which would be way too late in my opinion, right? But let's say you did something like this, and then all of a sudden tomorrow we have the FOMC come out and we do end up getting that 75 basis point rate hike. This is going to end up being a big bull trap, right? So you don't want to be entering anything late here. You got to be very, very cautious. You got to tread carefully. And that is part of the reason why I'm not currently in any positions right now. I said to my kind of like my group and my people in my Discord that this was going to be a slow week for me because, you know, I'm humble enough to say that when there's a lot of news in the market and I don't have the inside information, I don't have the clear bias, I don't have confidence in what the Federal Reserve is going to do, I'm okay with just sitting on the sidelines, waiting for some momentum. And then once the dust clears, I'll have some good trades. So that's kind of how I'm looking to play everything because I do not want to kind of fall into any sort of volatility trap here as we have these crazy news events. CPI came a little below 7.7 at 7.1. Yeah. Yeah, CPI came in. That's not just a little below. That's quite a miss to the downside, Lewis. That's a pretty big miss to the downside, right? Instead of that month over month coming at 0.3, we had it come in at 0.1, so he missed 0.2 to the downside. Like that's quite a miss, right? And we've seen that reaction appropriately across the board on all of these currency pairs, starting with the DXY. You say it's a bear trap. I think you're talking about a bull trap, unless you think that it's a dollar bear trap, which it very well could be. Right, so I'm being very, very cautious here, but let's talk about some setups that I may be interested in playing now that we have some momentum in the market, right? One thing that I could potentially look to play is something on like USDCHF, right? Like USDCHF has been in an amazing downtrend. We were kind of just sort of consolidating here, creating a flag type of a pattern, right? Creating this flag type of a pattern. We've now broken out of the downside of this sort of this bear flag, and we are now moving down quite aggressively with a strong impulse move. So if we can get a correction back up into this area, right, now that this news has kind of dropped and we have some momentum in the market, this is going to be something that I'm very interested in looking at. Nick said 7.1 yesterday, but he thought he made a mistake. Nick's a genius. Yeah, well, obviously he was confident in his prediction that the CPI was going to miss to the downside. He acted on that confidence, and it paid off for him, right? And that's the beauty of having experience in the markets, because he's been doing this for a long time. He's seen a lot of CPI prints, and that gave him the confidence to enter that position before the CPI, right? I've definitely taken plenty of trades on CPI. With this one specifically, I knew it was going to be a volatile one, so I figured better safe than sorry and just sit on the sidelines. So no FOMO for me. I know there were some nice moves today, but I'm fine with missing a couple of these news-driven moves, and then I'll wait for the dust to settle, and then then we can play the momentum that's created. If CPI came when I already placed the trade and never placed orders on the day of an event, yeah. Yeah, like if I was already in a trade and I was already in profit, then maybe I would have just moved stops to break even or something, right? But I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Is it possible to chat with an assistant? If you're referring to about the Edge Finder, I believe you can chat with somebody about the Edge Finder. Click the link down in the description. $1,000 on profit on GU. Very nice. Congratulations. Your account got... All right, so we have two very different stories here for different traders, and this is usually how CPI goes, but we have somebody who made $1,000 in profit and somebody who blew their account. So I hope you learned from that, senior, and hopefully you won't make the same mistakes again. But yeah, I really like this potential setup on USD-CHF. We've seen the CHF get a little bit strong as of late, right? We've seen the CHF get a little bit strong, and now we're seeing the dollar get weak. Like I said, we kind of broke out of that little flag that we've been in. If we can get a nice retest here up into this area, that is one short that's going to be on my radar for USD-CHF. And again, that's something that I could potentially take ahead of FOMC, right? If I can get that trade maybe later in New York session, maybe early London session, and then hopefully, maybe carry that over, and then we get some more follow through with FOMC tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and I'll toss an alert down right there. And we'll see if we can get that pullback here on USD-CHF. That's going to be one situation that I'm definitely looking at. Right, and then we also have some other things to look at, like GU, EU. I think we're creating some nice opportunities here on these pairs for pullbacks. Like specifically EU looks pretty nice. We have a very, very nice breakout here. I mean, guys, if we can get a nice retest down into this area here, why not look to take some longs, right? This is just a pretty textbook break and retest opportunity if it does happen. So I'll be definitely looking at this area right here. I'll toss an alert down right there as well, so I can be notified if we do get that retest, right? And we may not get these retests, right? We may not get these retests, but that's just part of the game, is planning out a strategy and then waiting for those setups to form. I've been extremely, extremely patient this month, and it's paid off for me. I've had a really nice month so far. And what's interesting about the month that I've had is I've actually taken way less trades than normal this month, just because it's sort of the end of the year. I'm trying to kind of preserve the year that I've had, and we've had a lot of like news events, and we have holidays and a lot of volatility and end of the year stuff. So I haven't been as aggressive as normal, but the trades that I have taken, I've been very patient. Very, very patient on, and I've had a really nice month so far. So I'm just going to continue being patient and waiting for these setups to play out. What about USDJPY retest? Yeah, USDJPY, absolutely massive move to the downside. You know what's interesting about USDJPY is I really thought that we would end up putting in some sort of top wick on this monthly here, right? As you can see here, we have monthly flip, no top wick, because this monthly candle has no top wick on it, and we came very close. We came very close to this area. I thought we would probably run these monthly highs and then do something like that, and now we're just melting down. So I wonder if this is going to be one of those months on USDJPY where we just don't put in a top wick on the monthly candle, which is quite rare, but it does happen. So it's not like it's a guaranteed, right? It's just more of a probabilities thing. When I see that a candle has no top wick, specifically on like a higher time frame, I always think that there's a higher chance that we do end up making a wick at some point, right? So, I mean, there's still plenty of time in the month if we do some sort of reversal here, especially if, I'll tell you what, if FOMC comes out tomorrow and we get that big interest rate hike at 75 basis points and not 50 basis points, we're going to see some pretty gnarly reversals. So maybe we do put that top wick in. But right now we're seeing bearish momentum. So, you know, it's best not to overcomplicate things and just sort of see if that bearish momentum can continue. Kindly cover gold. Yes, I will cover gold. And by the way, guys, as you just saw in the chat, the stream is not ending. But if you're watching on Trader Nick's channel, it's going to be moving over to A1 Trading. A1 Trading, they just dropped the link in the chat. So the stream is not ending. I will be here with you guys, and you can stare at my lovely face and listen to my lovely voice for the next 30 or 40 minutes or so. So go over to A1 Trading. The stream is not ending. You're bullish on commodities. You think we see 50 basis points? I mean, I think certainly the odds of a 50 basis point hike have drastically increased after this CPI print, which is why, right, the market doesn't wait for the market doesn't wait for those interest rate hikes. The market reacts to those interest rates. The market reacts before the actual event. Right? So looking at the DXY, could we just get a little bit of a retest here, maybe into an area like this, and then continue this kind of bearish momentum, right? Like the DXY is in a downtrend. There's no doubt about it. There were some questions for me anyways as to whether or not this CPI might be a catalyst for reversal. But clearly, right, with the CPI missing to the downside, we're actually moving to the downside off of this news, and we can just look to play that momentum. So looking really nice. Looking really nice on DXY for more downside, right? I'm kind of a momentum trader. I like to trade with the trends as they're already established. I don't like to necessarily be a trend setter, so to say. I like to be a trend follower. And I think in trading that can be a good thing. Maybe in life it's not such a good thing, but in trading it is. Please show us, how do I use the Edge Finder? Yes, I can quickly show you how I use the Edge Finder. So basically, what I like to do on the Edge Finder is I kind of just get rid of the neutral biases, right? So I go to the score chart summary. I get rid of the neutral biases, or maybe I can keep them up and just just take a look here. Just take a look at the top and the bottom of this chart. But what I'll look for is anything that's in the buy or strong buy category. I will look at the Edge Finder and say, you know what? We have fundamental reasons to be bullish or bearish on these pairs. And then I will use technical analysis to actually determine when is a good point to enter the market, right? So for example, on NZD CAD, right? NZD CAD. This is a trade that we talked about on one of my streams as a potential setup. Let's go take a look at it because I saw it was moving today. Where's NZD CAD? I can't find it. Yeah, so this is a potential setup that I saw. Again, right, I'm not in any position, so I did not take this. But this was a position, this was a setup that I saw in the market that we covered on my live stream and that we sort of talked about. And the reason that I was talking about NZD CAD was because NZD CAD was ranking as a strong buy, +6 on the Edge Finder. So as NZD CAD retested down into this area of support, this was a good buying opportunity. So basically the Edge Finder can put something on your radar. You wait for those pullbacks in that trend, and then you can look to pick up entries and continue following that trend. That's essentially how I use the Edge Finder. I use it as like a market scanner that just finds some of the better trends in the market for me without me having to do a whole lot of work. NZD CAD, by the way, this was a great setup. You know, I saw this on my stream last night, and I was I was thinking about picking up an entry, but I decided not to because I was sticking true to my plan, and I did not want to open anything before CPI. Yen cross analysis. Take a look at the yen pairs. I saw the yen pairs were like melting today. Yeah. Yeah, yen pairs are melting today. GJ rejecting pretty hard off of this area. The thing with GJ is though, it's bullish. GJ is bullish. There's no doubt about it. We're in an uptrend. But like I've talked about a couple of times on GJ is that the uptrend is not that clean because you get these big moves up, but then you get equally big moves down, right? Big move up, but then equally big move down. Big move up, right? Could we get another big move down? So we're not trending necessarily the best on GJ. I have this issue on TradingView where old alerts and stuff just continue to pop up. But on GJ now, so I'm wondering, basically going to keep my eye on this level here, right here, as to whether or not we can find some support at this level or whether we're going to break through this level, right? So if GJ can actually break above these highs, then I think it's a pretty good buy because we've been in an uptrend. So we just be basically playing the continuation of that uptrend. We have a nice range to potentially fill up into these highs right here between these highs and these highs. So I've been kind of waiting on GJ for these highs to be broken. And as we see right now, that did not happen. And with that sort of volatility in the market, we've moved to the downside on GJ. So for GJ, there's really nothing for me. Just kind of waiting and seeing if we can get a better trend, if we get some better opportunities, right? I'll look at maybe a level like this right here. Look at a level like this to be broken. And then if that level can be broken to the upside, then I think it becomes interesting for longs. But until then, I'm just kind of not going to focus GJ. Right, EJ, same thing. I think overall we're bullish, but right now we've seen a big kind of move to the downside. CAD yen, see, CAD yen is a little different than EJ and GJ because the CAD has been very bearish. The CAD has been very weak, and I think CAD yen, you know, we moved up into these range highs and now we're selling off. Now you have to beg the question, are we going to break through these range lows and be able to get another move down? So CAD yen looks pretty weak since the CAD is weak. NZD yen, so this is just an example of like two different currencies, right? So CAD yen, very weak. CAD is very weak, and we're getting that move to the downside. Whereas NZD is pretty strong. So as NZD yen moves down into this area, right? Maybe there's even an opportunity to pick up some NZD yen longs in this area for a continuation to the upside. If we go check the Edge Finder, NZD yen is still ranking +5. Basically, every single category is bullish besides inflation and unemployment. So NZD yen looking like it has some bullish momentum, and we're getting a pullback right now. So maybe NZD yen could be a potential buying opportunity. And honestly, some of these yen pairs, I just don't love them that much right now. CAD yen daily chart. Yeah, CAD yen down the daily chart looks quite bearish. It looks quite bearish. It looks like we put in another little lower high, and we could push down into these lows right here. Into on the daily time frame, push into this sort of like daily demand area down here. So I would say there's definitely room to go down on CAD yen to play that CAD weakness. But also, right, if you're weak on CAD, if you think the CAD is weak, you don't necessarily have to exclusively play that on CAD yen. You could play something like CAD CHF, which we're getting a big move to the downside. Wow, look at this on CAD CHF. Kind of perfectly rejecting off of this area here. And now we're getting a move to the downside. So we can take our fib, right, from the swing highs to the swing lows here, wherever this ends up stopping. And if we can get some kind of pullback on CAD CHF, maybe we can pick up an entry to continue to the downside on something like CAD CHF to play that CAD weakness. So I prefer playing that CAD weakness probably on this pair because the CHF has been pretty strong. Maybe we can look at an area like this right here as a possible retest point in the market, right? Although right now it looks like it's kind of just flying off to the races, but right, if we do get some kind of pullback there, maybe we can pick up an entry. If not, we can look for these lows to be broken. And then maybe we can get a break and retest on the break of these lows down here, right? Break, get that retest, and then continue the downtrend onwards. CAD CHFs looks super bearish. I was kind of looking at some potential shorts right here as we were on this area. And then we got that spike up, and now we're moving back down. So kind of grabbed some liquidity there, so to say, and then moved down afterwards. So anybody who entered here with a tight stop loss probably got taken out. And this is just melting here. Yeah, I think these things are still moving, guys, too. This is crazy, crazy, crazy news in the market. Obviously, the market is reacting heavily to this news. S&P 500 continues to push forwards. NASDAQ continues to push forwards. US 30 continues to push forward, right? US 30 looks great. US 30, I mean, we're not that far off all-time highs on US 30 now. It's crazy to say, but in this condition, we're only 6.2% off of all-time highs on US 30. I mean, that's wild, guys. It's literally wild. You know, not so long ago, we were looking into the barrel of despair, so to say, kind of in the depths of this bear market, and then all of a sudden US 30 said, "Hold my beer," and decided to take off. So right now we just put in a little higher low here on US 30. We're breaking through this high, so it makes sense in my opinion that US 30 could very well come up and retest these highs, which were already almost there, to be honest. And then, I mean, after that, guys, it's really just like back to all-time highs. Like, crazy to say, but all-time highs are right there. If you're a new trader, please don't trade today. Yeah, I'd say generally that's pretty good. That's a pretty good statement. Most people on CPI are losing, right? Unless you have a really, really good, discipline and risk management and a good strategy, I would not recommend trading CPI or any kind of volatile news at all. I think there's one thing for certain on CPI is that a lot of blown accounts today. People trading without stop losses. They think they're going to be right on the move. They stack positions. They blow their account. It's a story as old as time. Jerome pulls the whip tomorrow. You think Jerome's gonna pull a 360 on us, Nero? You think he's gonna pull a 180 on us and still give that 75 basis point hike? I think that's not out of the realm of possibility, guys, to be honest. I really don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I think we could get the 75 basis point rate hike tomorrow, and that could basically just nuke us and delete all these gains made today. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. AUD USD, have a nice day. Take a look at AUD USD. And we just blew right through these resistances on AUD USD. So AUD USD, what I would probably do is just measure. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Measure from the swing lows to the swing highs, and then just look to potentially pick up pullbacks here, right? I mean, as of now, if we don't continue pushing higher, a pullback right into this area would be like a 382 pullback, right? Potentially could grab some longs off of there, or potentially could wait for that deeper pullback into this like 618 area and then pick up some longs. Either way, it looks pretty bullish. We've created an uptrend. And we're looking pretty good. But remember, you guys got to remember this. And this is why I told my people and I told my group that I'm going to be very patient this week and probably not take as many trades as normal, is we have a lot of news this week. We have a lot of news. And you know what? If you're on the right side of news and you're confident in your analysis to be on the right side of news, it can be great. But the problem is if you're not on the right side of news and you don't have the confidence to be inside of a position because you don't necessarily know what that news is going to do, it's sometimes best to just sit on the sidelines. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, on a big news week, just kind of taking the foot off the gas a little bit, especially if you've been trading well. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, there's no need to trade the news if you don't feel confident in it. And we have more big news tomorrow. We have FOMC tomorrow, which debatably will be even bigger than this news, because the whole reason the market is moving right now for CPI is in anticipation of FOMC, right? Anticipation of FOMC. Also tomorrow, we have NZD GDP numbers and we have AUD employment numbers. So now we have big USD news, right? We have big AUD news. We have big NZD news. I can guarantee you that there's going to be a ton of volatility tomorrow as well. And if you're on the right side of those moves, it could be great. If you're on the wrong side of those moves, it could be really, really bad. I've already seen a couple people in here say they blew their accounts today, right? So So just be careful. There's no reason to force trades, right? There's no reason to force trades. I've only taken one trade this week, and it was a winning trade. So right now I have a profitable week, and I have no need to force these news trades if I'm not confident in them. Is basically my game plan. So yeah. And then after tomorrow, we have more news, right? We have more news on Thursday. We have pound bank rates. We have euro interest rates. We have CHF interest rates. We have retail sales, right? We have unemployment claims. We have the ECB press conference. That's on Thursday. And then guess what? On Friday, we wrap up with PMI. So this is no week for the week, so to say. This is a week of weeks. And then we also have holidays coming up, right? So this is what I've been telling my people, and what I've been kind of not preaching, but just like this is what I'm doing, is I'm being very cautious at the end of this year, guys. Like I've had a good year, and I would say if you have had a good year and you've had maybe at least a good last couple of months, like for me personally, I've had a really good year. I've had a really good last few months. I'm not in defense mode, but I'm in. I don't need to basically throw a knockout punch right at the end of the year, right? I'm winning the round. For those of you guys who are boxing fans, I don't need to throw a knockout punch right now. I can just kind of get my shots when I can get them, but also not take any hits. Is basically my game plan, because we have a lot of stuff coming up, and I don't want to give back a lot of profits at the end of the year. So I'm not in defense mode, but I'm definitely in more like there's times where I'm more aggressive and there's times where I'm less aggressive, and this is one of those times where I'm less aggressive. How does CPI affect FOMC? CPI is a leading indicator for what may happen at the FOMC meeting, since CPI is a broad measure of inflation in the US, and the Federal Reserve is looking at inflation numbers to make the decision on interest rates. If CPI is high, it increases the odds of an interest rate hike. If CPI is low, it decreases the odds of an interest rate hike. We're going to be getting an interest rate hike tomorrow. I could say that pretty confidently. But the question is, do we get a 75 basis point rate hike like we have been getting, or do we get a 50 basis point rate hike to kind of move us out of this regime of like very hawkish Federal Reserve? So basically, a 50 basis point rate hike tomorrow would be the first real solid indicator, solid data point that we have that the Federal Reserve is actually reversing their policy out of this very hawkish approach to a slightly more dovish approach. So we're going to be getting interest rate hikes tomorrow on the US dollar once again, but we are just questioning how big of an interest rate hike are we getting? And that is why people are using the CPI to speculate on that. If the news in stock is good, then why gold is moving? It should fall. I'm not sure I completely understand your question there. But I'll tell you why gold is moving. And we can take a look at gold. We haven't really looked at gold yet. I'll tell you why gold is moving. Gold is moving because the dollar is weak. And when the dollar is weak, commodities tend to do well. Risk on assets tend to do well. Bitcoin will tend to do well. Stocks will tend to do well. Commodities will tend to do well when the dollar is weak. And right now, the dollar is weak because we got a low CPI number, which means inflation has come down since last month, and that decreases the odds of a significant rate hike at tomorrow's FOMC meeting. That's the psychology of why this news is playing out the way it's playing out. Thoughts on trading in December? I kind of just gave you my thoughts. Yeah. I think if you've had a really good year and especially if you've had a really good quarter, why necessarily be super aggressive at the end of the year when you have a lot of news, when you have Q4 wrapping up, when you have holidays, right? There's just a lot of stuff happening. So it's not necessarily like the purest month to trade. Like it's just, there's a lot of other factors at play in December. End of year volatility, right? Funds moving money around to either close out positions for the year or enter positions for the year. A lot of stuff happening. What percentage did I take home last month? I did about 4R last month. So on 1% risk, I did a little over 4%. How do I compare CPI to FOMC? Like I said, I just kind of talked about that, Sparta. It's a leading indicator to what may happen at FOMC. They're two completely different metrics. It's just that people use the CPI to speculate on what might happen at the FOMC. All right, let's take a look at some more setups potentially here, guys. I think the dollar is just super, I don't know, guys. I told myself this week, I told myself at the beginning of this week that I really wasn't going to take very many trades on the US dollar because of all this news. So we'll see. We'll see if we get that perfect setup. Like I talked about a couple of setups where it's like, I think this is a perfect setup. I think if USD CHF pulls back up into this area, that would meet the criteria for like every single one of my confluences that I look for in a trade. We have a strong CHF. We have a weak dollar. We broke out of a significant technical pattern, right? If we look here on like the hourly chart, we broke here. We broke out of a significant technical pattern. We broke out of this sort of flag type pattern where we were just consolidating to the downside. Boom, we broke out of that. We have clean impulse move. That's something that I really look for. That's like important to me is impulse moves. We got a nice impulse move. And then if we get that fib pullback here into that 0.5 to 618 area, I mean, that's a no-brainer kind of entry for me, right? Like if we get this pullback here on USD CHF, news, no news, regardless, I'm going to take this setup. So there's a few things that I'm looking at where I will take a setup, but like I said, I'm being very patient. There's no reason for me to take an entry necessarily. Like I'm going to be patient and I'm going to wait for my setups, right? And if I get the perfect setup, I'll act on it. If I don't, I'm happy to kind of just be a spectator for the news this week. Will there be another big spike due to FOMC tomorrow? I can almost guarantee you, Orchun, that there will be more volatility tomorrow. Yes. Whether that be reversing the moves we made today or adding on to them, I'm not sure, but I can guarantee you that there will be volatility tomorrow. If I trade only one pattern and I got 70% accuracy, could I make good money? I mean, you just answered your question. You said you got 70% accuracy. If any trader has 70% accuracy, they can make good money. I don't have 70% accuracy. How long did it take you to become consistently profitable? Honestly, it took me a couple of years. I was struggling for a year. I was losing money. And then for about a year, I was like kind of breaking even. Like I'd have good moments. I'd have really good moments and I would improve and I would have good months. And then I would make mistakes and I would give it back. So I was kind of just bouncing around between, a little bit of profit, a little bit of drawdown, break even. And then I feel like this year I really put it all together. 2022. Who's the better trader, you or Nick? To be honest, I'm humble enough to say that Nick's got way more experience than me in the markets. And I'd say he probably, at this point in his career, probably has a better track record than me. And I'm fine to say that. I've only been trading Forex for I think half the amount of time as Nick, so I still have a lot to learn. Everybody does, but yeah, when you have years of experience, it definitely you get better with experience. I will say I've made some dang good crypto trades in my lifetime though. I've done really well with crypto, so I'd say it depends on like how you measure it up, but look, it doesn't really matter who's better or worse, right? It doesn't really matter. You don't have to compare yourself, and that goes for a lot of you guys too. You don't have to compare yourself to any other trader. There's no need for comparisons. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you in anything you do. If anything, you could use it as motivation to become better yourself. But I think it's generally a losing mindset to try to compare yourself to others. I think you should just try to be the best that you can possibly be. And at the end of the day in the markets, if you're making any sort of profit, you're doing better than like 90% of traders, especially retail traders. So just focus on making the best trades that you can make and try to take profits from the market consistently. And then it doesn't really matter if you're better or worse than anybody else because you're making gains, and that's all that really matters, right? You're a great trader. I'm following you. Thank you, Ramhendra. I appreciate you. I still have a lot to learn. I'm not too. I'm humble enough to admit that. That's for sure. I have plenty to learn. This is only my 3rd year trading Forex. And like I said, this is like really 2022 was like my breakout year in the sense of like really becoming profitable and putting my strategy together and actually being able to consistently profit month over month. Like it feels good, you know, it feels good to put it all together. So I have a feeling that next year we'll just be adding on to that. And then next year we'll be adding on to that. Right. And like, this is my career path. So I'm going to be here for a while. There's no rush as long as I can continue making improvements over time. And, you know, 3 years, 4 years from now, who knows the kind of progress I can make. You've blown your account over and over, and I want to learn how to calculate it. How do you know the number of pips you're risking? I would say, Kalvuski, go to like a lot size calculator on Google. And there's probably entire dedicated videos on YouTube that can help you out. Generally speaking, though, on most pairs, like on the major pairs, like US pairs and stuff, I think yen pairs are a little different, but like what you can do is you can use the measurement tool to measure like how many pips, right? So let's say your stop loss is 60 pips. You can enter a lot size that corresponds to that amount of pips. So if you enter a 1 lot, a standard lot, that's going to be $10 per pip. So 60 pips would be $600 risk, right? That's kind of how you can calculate it for the major pairs. But it does vary. I think the yen pairs are a little different. So I would recommend using a lot size calculator until you can figure out how to do that mentally. Do I do trailing stops just like Nick? No. So I think this is kind of where mine and Nick's strategy differ a little bit. I scale out of my trades and I take profits a little bit quicker. He kind of swings for the fences and goes for those big trades by trailing his stops. So there's no right or wrong way. He definitely hits those big trades every once in a while. And that's really how, and he has videos on this. You guys can go look at his videos where he talks about his strategy. He basically is trying to trail his stops. So that way, every once in a while, he can catch massive moves, right? Like he'll just stay in the trade for a long time, hit a really big risk to reward. And those trades, even though they don't happen all the time, when they do happen, it's a spike in the account, right? Like those are the trades that push your account into profit. And then okay, it's back to regular trades, hit a big one, and then it pops off like that, right? Whereas I kind of scale out of my trades. I can give you an example on a trade that I took on pound CAD. So I took this trade on pound CAD. This is my one trade for the week. Right here. So I took this right here on pound CAD. Basically, it was a simple break and retest, right? We literally had highs here. We made an impulse move to break us out. We got the retest right down into this level, and then we got a 30-minute rejection right out of that area. So I took my entry right there. I placed my stop loss below here, and I targeted all the way back up here. So I actually scaled out of my trade. My first position was scaled out here at this 2R. So instead of trailing my stops, I scaled out of my trade at 2R. I took partials. And then as we moved up, I scaled out more partials at 3R right here. And then I closed out the rest of my trade right here. So I was able to secure like about 2.25% or 2.25 R on this trade. And then it completely reversed back down. So, you know, sometimes it's great to trail stops. Sometimes it's better to secure profits. I think at the end of the day, it's just a preference and strategy. And like it's really just a preference and strategy, right? There's no right or wrong way. I personally I like having a slightly higher win rate for my psychology. Like it feels good to win, and it makes me more confident. It makes me a better trader when I'm winning more trades. So I choose to scale out of my trades and lock in my profits, but I'm still going for good risk to reward, right? Like ideally I can hit 2R, 3R. And if I can do that with a decent win rate, you know, that's really good for me. So it's just a preference and strategy. This pound CAD trade was amazing though. And then we came back down and we retested this area here and then off to the races again. So, right. And again, I was just playing CAD weakness. Like this was just, I identified CAD weakness in the market and it was a clean uptrend. We had a trend line right here at the time too, right? We had a trend line at the time. We tapped in onto the trend line. We tapped into this demand or order block, whatever you want to call this, right? Some people would call this an order block. Some people would call it support. Some people call it demand. Whatever you want to call it, right? This was a great opportunity to be long right there as we got those rejections out of that area. So that was a pretty straightforward setup. That's kind of the type of setup that I look at, right? Just playing the trend, break and retest. Simple. Can I please explain why gold is rising? Looking at the Edge Finder, the impact of an inflation decrease should have a negative impact on gold. The reason gold is rising, Mehdi, is because the dollar has gotten weak. The dollar has gotten weak, right? We look at the DXY. You can, if you're ever in doubt as to what the dollar is doing, go look at the DXY. This gives you an idea of what the dollar is doing. When the dollar is weak, it tends to be good for commodities. So it's just an inverse relationship, right? XAU, this is XAU versus USD, right? XAU USD, gold versus the US dollar. So half of the equation is the US dollar. So when you have extreme volatility on the US dollar, that's going to, of course, affect the asset that it's paired with. That's why gold is moving. Are you funded by a prop firm? I have gotten funded in the past, Colin, but these days I much prefer to trade on personal funds for a lot of reasons, which I've talked about on my own streams and stuff. I don't want to get into it too much on this stream. But short answer, yes, I was funded, but I prefer to trade on personal funds. How can you find DXY on MT4? It depends if your broker offers DXY, which a lot of them don't. I think it's pretty rare actually that a broker will allow you to directly trade DXY, so you may not be able to find it on MT4. So you have to look for it on TradingView. TradingView is free, so if you don't have TradingView, right, this is TradingView right here. Or am I expecting JPY to continue its strength? To be honest with you, I don't think the JPY has been that strong other than for brief periods of strength in the market. Obviously, when we look at the CAD, like the CAD's been weak. So, of course, the yen's pretty strong versus the CAD. But when we look at like NZD versus the yen, like this keeps popping back up. So annoying. But when we look at NZD versus the yen, I mean, we're continuing to push higher. So we don't really see a whole lot of yen strength here on NZD yen or even AUD yen or CHF yen, right? So we just have to look at the higher time frame trends, I think. Like when I look at like euro yen or pound yen, let's look at pound yen. I think pound yen is a good example of this. We look at pound yen, we're in an uptrend. So looking at this chart, would you really say that the yen is that strong? It's not. It's not that the yen is really that strong on any significant time frame. And the reason the yen has been a bit tricky to trade lately is because you'll have these spikes and then these dips in the yen strength and weakness. And what you'll have is you'll get a big move to the upside, but then you'll get an equally big move to the downside. So it's really hard to follow the trend because you'll get these massive kind of whipsaws in the market, right? You get these massive kind of whipsaws. Even though we're trending up, it's not been like a clean trend with impulse moves and stuff like that. But I think overall, the yen is weak. The yen still has extremely low interest rates. Like it's still not a strong currency in the market. But you just get these periods of brief kind of like volatility on the yen, kind of more than other currencies right now specifically. So what I would say is I still have a long bias on some of these yen pairs, like specifically NZD yen, pound yen, euro yen. I still have a long bias on these pairs, but what I want to see is for bullish structure to be formed, right? So on pound yen, there's no entries for me at all. There's no setups until we can make bullish structure. So I have a bullish bias, but it's not ready right yet. The market's not ready yet, right? We have to break above these highs. We have to get a retest, and then I can really be bullish on pound yen, maybe look for longs. But I would say the yen generally is not that strong. It's just you have these periods of brief strength. You really like my mindset since that you started watching my videos, something clicked. Let's go. That's amazing to hear that, Dariana. I really appreciate that. It makes it all like worthwhile to continue doing these streams and to continue, providing the best insights that I can possibly provide. And I'd say, Nick and everyone at A1 Trading, like the reason that they make their software products, the reason that they're doing all this education is to share with you guys strategies that can help you become better traders. And, hearing that is definitely pretty cool. What about Euro USD? Euro USD is pulling back. What do I think about entering buys after the pullback? I think it's valid. I think it's valid to look for a pullback here and to potentially buy, right? We can measure the impulse move here. If you get that 618 fib down into this level, there's nothing wrong with that entry at all. It's a solid entry. So yeah, it makes sense. I'm not telling you what you should or should not do by any means, but the setup makes sense in that I am definitely looking at that as well. How long Euro NZD goes down? Let's analyze it. Yeah, let's take a look at Euro NZD. So Euro NZD is very bearish, and we can tell that because this has been one of those pairs that has been ranking. Excuse me. This is one of those pairs that has been very bearish. It's been ranking very, very strong sell on the Edge Finder for a while now. All right, let's jump into the Edge Finder and take a look at what we have here on Euro NZD. By the way, guys, if you guys have been thinking about getting the Edge Finder, and you want to save some money, they've given me a code where you guys can use the code, save some money. I believe it's 25% off. So use code Jake, Jake at checkout. If you guys want the Edge Finder, they've given me that code to give to you guys so you guys can save 25%. Code Jake at checkout. But Euro NZD, right? Euro NZD has been one of those pairs that has been ranking a strong sell for quite a while now. The only category that is ranking bullish for Euro NZD is that the institutions are slightly favoring longs over on NZD. Institutions are slightly favoring longs on Euro over the NZD. So, right, we have institutions 67% long on the Euro, institutions only 41% long on the NZD. So, right, longs favor the Euro, but other than that, everything else is pretty bearish for this pair, right? And we even have retail sentiment right here. Retail is currently 75% long on Euro NZD. So your retail's off sides on this pair essentially, right? Your retail's on the wrong side of this move right now, and that's why we continue pushing to the downside, right? So the Edge Finder has been providing a strong sell bias on this pair for a while. I believe Nick actually caught an amazing trade on Euro NZD as well. I've caught in some really good trades on AUD NZD and Pound NZD, right? And these pairs here have been ranking as strong sells for the last few weeks now. And right, what we can see is that it's played out. Like we've gotten some strong sells here on these pairs. So I think Euro NZD is still very weak, and I want to see a break and retest here, guys. Like honestly, this is one of the stronger setups in the market. I have this on my watch list. So if we can get a nice impulsive breakout here, I'm going to move this right here as the most recent kind of break point. If we get a nice impulsive breakout, which we are getting at this point, right? Let's say we get a nice impulsive breakout and then we get a retest back up into this area. I'll be looking to sell Euro NZD to kind of just continue this downtrend. So I'm looking for break and retest opportunity here. We are currently breaking the lows, but I tend to like stronger breakouts than where we're currently sitting. So I want to see a nice strong breakout here. I want to see that retest up into this area, and then I can maybe look to tag some sells to continue this downside for Euro NZD. So we have the Edge Finder bias, -7, strong sell. We have retail on the opposite side of this trade, right? We have seasonality pointing towards some bearishness, and you guys can read the little scanner output summary here, which basically explains the whole thing. But for those reasons, Euro NZD is bearish. And then from a technical perspective, right? From a technical perspective, we're making lower lows, lower highs. We're breaking through levels of support like we are right now. And then if we get that pullback up into this level of resistance, that's going to be somewhere where I look to take a sell entry on this pair. So that's certainly on my watch list for the rest of today. Best advice for compounding a $100 account. How aggressive would you be trading up until the $2,000 mark? I would say, generally speaking, that's a 20x return, right? That's a 20x return on your money, which is a lot, Mark. So that's a very high expectation to get a 20x in any period of time, right? Like do the same math. If you started with $10,000 and you 20x'd it, right? So that's a massive increase, right? It's just you're starting with 100, so you're like, oh, it shouldn't be so hard to go from 100 to 2,000, but you have to realize that's a 20x. That's a 20x return. That's a lot. So what I would say, Mark, is to just focus on taking good trade after good trade, right? Taking good trade after good trade, compound good decisions, like avoid mistakes, right? Really just be very thorough and logical about all of your trades, and make sure when you enter a trade that you have a reason for entering that trade, that it meets certain criteria of your strategy. And then when you enter that trade and you know that it's a good setup, you just try to compound good decision, good decision, good decision, and slowly that account will start to grow. How much risk do you want to use on that account? That's up to you. That's very personal. How much risk you use is very personal. If you're trying to grow that $100 account and maybe you don't mind being more aggressive with it, then you can use slightly more risk and it'll grow faster, or you'll lose faster, right? If you want to be very careful with that $100 and you don't want to risk a lot, then you'll grow slower, but you'll also go into less drawdown. So it's very personal, the amount of risk. But what I would say from a strategy perspective is just try to focus on compounding good decisions, good trades, take the best setups, be patient, follow your strategy and use risk management. Those are just like basic trading 101 kind of things right there. What do I think about Euro Yen? We'll talk about Euro Yen in a sec. Do I have an opinion on baby pips? Yeah, I think it's a great beginner course. Honestly, as far as like free resources for beginning Forex traders, I think baby pips is like one of the best spots to start because it's free. It has so much information and it will get you like the foundation. Like, I don't think you're going to take the baby pips course and then be like an instantly profitable Forex trader. I mean, it's possible, but it will give you a strong foundation to build on from there. So if you're a complete beginner, baby pips, it's free and it's a pretty good resource. My opinion on pound Swiss. Yeah, Euro Yen. I mean, generally I'm bullish on Euro Yen. Like, we have this uptrend that we've been respecting. We also more recently on the daily it's not the cleanest trend, but like kind of broke out from this little trend, and now we're coming back down into this area. So it'll be interesting to see if we can hold up this level of support and then continue to move back up, or if we start to break through that level of support. So I'd say I'm leaning bullish on Euro Yen, but I kind of want to see it break some highs here. So I kind of want to see Euro Yen get back above these highs. So Euro Yen's going to be kind of off my radar until we can get back above these highs. I did take a trade on Euro Yen last week. I took a trade on Euro Yen last week. I longed Euro Yen on this little break and retest right here. And I caught this move to the upside, ended up breaking even on this trade. But that was the last trade that I took on Euro Yen. I think I took longs like right here. I don't remember the exact entry. And then I took this up. No, it wasn't quite that. I got a bit of a higher entry because it wasn't quite 2R. It was like it was something like this. And my target was up here. My target was like up here into this supply level here, which we kind of recently tapped into, right? So price moved up to here. I moved my stop to break even. And then price came back down and stopped me out for break even. So that was my last trade that I've taken on Euro Yen. I do have a bullish kind of perspective on Euro Yen right now, as long as we kind of are maintaining this bullish trend line on the higher time frames. It's just we did currently see some weakness today. And now the question is, are we going to hold up this level of support right here? Right? Are we going to hold up this level of support and then get a rally off this level, or are we going to melt through? Right? So there's no setup for me until we can start making bullish structure again. But I'd say I'm generally bullish on Euro Yen, and there were some good moves. Like, there were some good moves here off of this little support level, especially right here. Finally, like, this is the move that I was looking for, right? This move right here, I was looking for that move. It just didn't. It just happened like the next week, right? But generally, I'm still bullish on Euro Yen. Pound US dollar still flying bullishly. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin flew today. So I was kind of looking at this area, and you can see we got back above this. These were the lows of that like previous big range that we're in. But then we also have like the more significant supply up here, in my opinion, right? This was just a wick. We have the significant supply level. I think Bitcoin could continue to go up and push into the supply level. And then when we sell off from there, or do we break out from there, right? That's kind of a question to be answered later on. But I mean, especially if FOMC tomorrow kind of continues this bearish weakness, or this dollar weakness that we've seen, I could see Bitcoin trading in the 18 to 19,000 range for sure. For sure. This whole area of supply up here, we have not retested that yet. So it makes sense that Bitcoin would, at least, even if we're bearish, right, at least price would probably want to gravitate towards this area to pick up, new sell orders, and then we can continue down. Or we can, right, put in a higher low and then break out from here. So that's kind of the level to look at for Bitcoin, in my opinion. And I'll be keeping my eye on that. Yeah, Bitcoin, if you were on the right side of this Bitcoin move today, honestly, Bitcoin probably outperformed everything today. Bitcoin probably outperformed everything if you were on the right side of this move. Really big move to the upside here. Right, once we reclaimed this level, it was like, over 5%. Is CAD yen bullish now? What's your thought? I'm generally not very bullish on the CAD right now, Evan. I think the CAD's still pretty weak right now, and I'm not interested in longing the CAD. I've actually been shorting the CAD recently. How much is your smallest account equity amongst all my trading accounts? I'm not really going to get into exactly how much equity I have in my accounts. You have a $100 account, past 5 months, it went down to $20. In another month, it goes to $120, like it's changing, but not go above 200. That's an 80% drawdown in your account. I would say that if you have an 80% drawdown in your account, you're probably risking a lot. And if you're risking a lot, you tend to have those big drawdowns and then those big spikes. So if you want to limit some of that downside, and yes, you'll also limit some upside, but using less risk generally could be a good idea. Right? Basically, if you're using a lot of risk and you go on a win streak, it's great. If you're using a lot of risk and you go on a losing streak, it's not so great. So that's why I use 1% risk on my trades, because I trade very stress-free, I trade very stress-free, and I just risk 1%, and I have less drawdown and like less crazy moves in my account. It's more just consistent, slow growth. All right, guys, I think I've been on for about an hour. So let me just give you guys my final thoughts. And real quickly, guys, do me a favor. If you like the stream today, give it a like right now. Drop a like on the stream. And subscribe to A1 Trading. If you guys are new here and this is your first time on stream, drop a subscribe right now to A1 Trading, because they go live every single day with a new guest, right? I'm Tuesday's guest. I'm here every single Tuesday. So if you like what you saw from me, you can tune into A1 Trading on Tuesdays, or you can go subscribe to my channel, Trader Jake. You can find me here on YouTube. So drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the stream right now if you want to see more of them. If you want to see more from me, my name is Trader Jake, and you can subscribe to me on YouTube if you choose, right? Also, quickly, we've talked about the Edge Finder a lot today. If you guys liked what you saw from the Edge Finder, you guys can check out the link down in the description below. I'm pretty sure you can get a free trial. You can get a free trial on the Edge Finder. And then if you decide after that free trial that you want to go ahead and pick up the Edge Finder, and it's something that you want to add to your tools of trading products, you can use code Jake at checkout, code JAKE, right? Go check out, try the free trial. Go contact the team, get your free trial of the Edge Finder. And then if you guys want to go with the Edge Finder, using my code would be much appreciated, and it'll also save you guys 25%. But all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a big day tomorrow with FOMC, right? So everybody, please be safe, be smart. Don't blow your account. We have another big day coming up tomorrow, right? We obviously saw some very strong bearish downside here on the dollar. So it'll be interesting to see if we can continue that downside and get that 50 basis point rate hike, or if we end up getting that 75 basis point rate hike and reverse this move, right? Only time will tell. And we'll have to just wait for the FOMC tomorrow. So, all right, everybody, trade safe. Thank you for joining me here. I'll be live again next Tuesday, and everybody take care.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And remember to check the description below if you're looking for a new broker or looking for a trading community to join. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.